welcome to Venus Canadian Journey. Thank you so much for watching. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the school system here in Canada and in particular here in Nova Scotia. So let's get started. A number of parents have actually reached out to me to ask me about the school system in Canada and Nova Scotia, questions about what to expect, and I usually respond one-on-one, but I thought why not make a general video that would help everybody. So that is what I'm going to try and do today. So the school system here in Canada, and regardless of the province that you want to reside in, I believe this video is going to help you because yes, our case study is Nova Scotia, but the system is almost the same in every province. I have a friend who resides in Ontario. Her son is the same age as my daughter. We compare notes weekly, the curriculum, what they do, and it's almost the same thing. So even if you're going to find yourself in the province I cannot pronounce very well, Saskatchewan, this would help you. Okay, now 3 important factors to have at the back of your mind before we move forward. This is going to help you a lot. The number 1 factor is dates. So there's some dates that are very important here in Canada when you're thinking about schooling for your child. The first date is the school year. The school year starts in September. Most countries, the school year starts in August or September. The second date is registration date. Registration here in Nova Scotia is February. Registration is such a huge deal. February, newsletters are going out, emails are going out, register. So these 2 dates very important. Second thing to remember is the age of your child. What is very key is that your child is going to be placed in a particular grade, and this depends on the age of your child before the 31st of December. I'm going to explain this in detail later. This is very, very important because I remember in Nigeria, the way most children were put in classes was based on your academic prowess. Here it's not really the same. Age is a huge factor. And the third thing to remember, the third factor that is very important when thinking about the school system here in Canada is location. So where you reside. If you reside, so for instance, if you reside in Halifax, let's say the Clayton Park area in Halifax, it's very likely that your child is going to go to a school in that catchment area. It's not mandatory, but it's recommended, and that's what most people do. I remember when we were in Abuja, we lived in a different part of Abuja. My daughter's school was about a 45-minute commute one way every day. Here it's kind of not recommended. It's not frowned upon, but most children go to school close to their homes, and I'll talk about that later. So these 3 factors are very important to have at the back of your mind. Now let's get into the school system proper. So your child can start daycare, some countries call play school or creche, from about 6 months up until about 4 years plus. Now this 6 months age also depends on the daycare. I heard of a lady who tried to register her 12-month-old son in a daycare center near her house, and she was told they start taking children. She was told she couldn't register because they start taking children from 18 months. So that's also very, very important to remember. Some schools will start at 6 months or 9 months. Others insist on 12 months. Others insist on 18 months. I remember when I was in Nigeria, I think it's most daycares take children from about 3 or 4 months. So this is also something you should have at the back of your mind. Now, very important, daycare is not free in Canada. Please. People say, oh yeah, public schools are free. Yes, from grade school, from when your child is about 5. But from that 6 months to 4.5 years, when they're in daycare, what's considered as creche or preschool, it is not free. The average cost of daycare in Nova Scotia is it can range from about $25 per day to about $40 per day, depending on the school. So ballpark in a month, you can pay anything between 700 Canadian dollars per month on daycare per child to 1,000 Canadian dollars per month, depending on the daycare, depending on what they're charging. It's not free. However, what the government has in place is called subsidies. Now, you can apply for a subsidy. What a subsidy is a discount on your daycare, on the tuition for daycare, because it's quite expensive, paying $800, $900 per month. But the reason I believe there's a payment for this is because daycares are not mandatory. So some kids actually stay at home from the age of 0 when they were born till it's time to go to grade school for 5 years, so they're 4 or 5 years old. However, subsidies are put in place. You apply for a subsidy. It is not guaranteed that you're going to get the subsidy, but what the government does is that they assess your finances. So they assess the family's finances, and if they see that you need a discount for childcare, you'll be given some subsidy. So it's called childcare subsidy. The discount depends on your family's finances. Some people get a discount of up to 40-45% off. Others get a discount of 10% or 20%. It depends, but the analysis is done by the government, and when it's done, they contact the school directly, and then the school will tell you how much you need to pay, how much your subsidy is. So very important. If you're coming to Canada and you have young kids, it's not just as easy as going to just register them and put them in childcare, early childcare. You have to consider the cost implication as well. Very, very important. Another thing to think about if you have younger kids is that there usually is a waiting list for daycare centers. I know it doesn't sound, when we first got here, I was like, I don't understand. This, first of all, is not free. Why do we still have to have a waiting list? Yes, because there's a high demand, or should I say there's a shortage of early childhood workers, and there's a high demand, so there's usually a waiting list. I heard of a lady who was about 8 or 9 months pregnant, and she went to register her unborn baby in a daycare. She was registering that child 12 months ahead because she was going to stay home for a year and then register the child at 12 months. So 12 months ahead, she's went there. So this child is not yet born, but put the child on the waiting list. That's just the situation here. One of my friends took her boys out of daycare and changed her mind after a month, and she wanted to put them back in, and finding space became a challenge. And she was like, why did she take them out in the first place? So something to think about. Now, to the phase where most parents like the public school. Now, if your child is going to turn 5 on or before the 31st of December of a particular school year, then your child is eligible, can start grade school. So grade school is from 4 plus 5 years up until 16. That's where the public school system comes in place. Now let me give you an example. My daughter was born in November 2016, right? And remember, the school year starts in September. So in September, she was 4 years, 10 months. However, her birthday is November, so that means she's gonna turn 5 before the 31st of December. So she was eligible to start grade school, grade primary, by September. Now, one of her really good friends at Daycare, they were in Daycare together. However, this girl's birthday is in January, I think it's January 11th or 12th. The girl cannot go to grade primary, did not go to grade primary this year because she was not eligible for it. She stays back at Daycare. Doesn't mean she's slow, it doesn't mean she's not smart, it's just they go with the age system. I heard of a family that immigrated from, that came to Canada from abroad, and they put their children in a class they didn't like, so they went to the school to just challenge it, to say their kids were on honor roll, their kids were smart, why are they in this class? And the school was like, this is a system, we don't use academics as a standard, we use the age system. So their age on or before the 31st of December. So very, very important to note that. Now, when the child gets to grade school, there's an option of public school or private school. Most children in Canada and Nova Scotia attend the public school system, attend public schools. Now, a lot of people from abroad, when they hear public schools, they go, oh, no. But it's not the same in Canada. The public schools are top-notch. Academic standards are great. And they're free. But there's also private schools. Here in Nova Scotia, there's about 20-odd private schools. Some parents prefer the private schools because they come with smaller classes, because you have less students. Private schools are not free. And also because sometimes private schools come with specialized learning. So let me explain. For instance, our daughter goes to a Christian private school here in Halifax. So in addition to the academics which is being taught, they're also taught Bible lessons. They have chapel weekly. Part of her homework, yes, they have math homework, and they need to read different books at any given time. But part of the homework is also Bible verses. They need to learn memory verses. They read the Bible. So this is the kind of specialized teaching. That's what I mean. It's not as if they teach extra in the private schools. But some of the private schools are faith-based, and that's why some parents actually opt for that option. Now, the average tuition of a private school here in Nova Scotia ranges from about 6,000 Canadian dollars per annum, so for the year, up to about 30,000 Canadian dollars for the year. So it depends on your pocket, it depends on what you can afford. But generally, a lot of students, majority of kids, go to the public schools because they're good. Standards are good. Now, I talked about location. This is very important. Whichever location you are in, 9 out of 10, it means that your child is going to go to a school in that location. So I've heard a lot of parents that want to, buy houses, and they're like, oh, I don't want to live in this area, or I don't want to live in that area because the schools in this area are not good. Or so this is where location comes to mind, and it's the truth. Now, it's not mandatory that your child must go to a school where you live. However, it's recommended. Okay, so take for instance, if you're working from home and there's a snowstorm, or your child gets ill and they call you from the school, it will be an easy, you can easily just drive there and go and pick the child up. Most times, the school around your area, you can even walk to the school 10-15 minutes. However, like I said, it's not mandatory. I know some parents that live in Dartmouth, they work in Halifax, which is about a 20-minute commute, and they choose for their kids' schools to be in Halifax near their office. For them, they find it, they say it's better. It's not written, in black and white that you have to choose a school near where you live, but it's recommended. If you don't want to do that, you can always, take your child where you want to, but most children go to schools in the catchment area. If you come around where schools are about 2 p.m. ish, when schools go out, when the bell has gone and it's time to go home, you usually see the older kids, maybe the teenagers, walking home together because they all live in the same neighborhood. They're crossing the road together. It's such a nice sight to see, and you know that they're all in the same catchment area. Okay, and like I said, public schools, free. Private schools, you have to pay depending on which school you send your child to. Now, I know that this has been quite a lot to take in, so I'm going to stop here. But something I found really strange when my daughter started grade school, she didn't have this problem, or this issue or challenge was not there when she was in daycare. Daycares usually open from about 7 a.m. Some will close at about 6 p.m. So if you're a working parent, if you're working parents like us, you finish work at 4, and you're rushing to go pick your child up at daycare, you don't really have a problem. Even if there's a snowstorm, you know you're going to be there. The school opens at 7:30 a.m. So if you need to be in the office at 8, you're fine. However, when my daughter started grade school, we realized that classes start about 8:50 a.m. or even 9 a.m. and close at 2. School closes at 2 p.m. And when I saw that, I was like, what are full-time working parents supposed to do? If I need to be in the office at 8:30 and your class starts at school starts at 8:45 or 9 a.m. and then you finish at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. I'm still attending meetings, and what happens? So another kind of school system that comes in play here that is really big in Canada and in Nova Scotia is called before and after school programs. That's another topic on its own, but I'm gonna end here. However, if you want me to talk about this on the next segment, please leave a comment, and I will talk about it. I know that it's not everybody that has children, or not everybody that might be interested in this, but if you want me to talk more about the school system, to explain more about before and after school, because the truth is most parents are full-time working parents. So school starting at 9 and ending at 2 p.m. is not really ideal. And then it's not like back home where there's a driver to go pick up the children, nanny that will be waiting at home, or you can drop the child with grandma or an auntie or an uncle. Here you're here by yourself. So if you want me to talk about before after school, pop a note in the comment section and I will talk about it next time. Until next time, as usual, I really hope you found this really helpful. If you're coming to Canada and you have kids, if you have any questions, put them there and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Have a very good evening. Hi, my name is Habiba and welcome